monster through the violet shadows to the bathroom, and the elevator, and the gym, and then finally to the office. By the time the Doves called to Amy, Leo Buckner was already at his desk in Midtown, looking into the eye of a video device that sent a slightly convex version of him to the clients sitting around a platter of pastries in an industrial park conference room in Pittsburgh. As Leo went about the start of the workday, Amy slowly woke up. Her clock, which he had bought her as a recent birthday present from the Domestic Edge catalog, and which, depending on the setting, made a noise like one of a variety of animals, today sounded like a flock of mourning doves. Leo and their son Mason were sent into a shared frenzy by gadgetry. The apartment, because of this, contained objects that blinked and hummed and made animal noises, and sometimes actually spoke sentences in flattened android voices, remarking, "Your keys are over here." So clearly indifferent to where your keys actually were. But husband and son were content with the impersonal nature of electronics. They didn't need these objects to love and embrace them, because Amy did, and that was enough. "Mason," she cried in a dry, fruitless morning voice, "time to get up." There was no response. It would have made much more sense if she'd simply gone into his room right away and hung over his bed like a jackal in a tree, the way some mothers did. "Mason!" she cried again, rasping but loud. Still nothing. And so Amy gave it a rest, standing in the middle of her pale bedroom and moving her head from side to side, listening to the internal neck pops and explosions. At age 40, her physical self seemed to make much more noise and require so much more attention than it used to. She stretched her arms over her head, her body nicely thin but slightly battered by middle age, tight-nippled inside one of Leo's oversized undershirts, which she wore to bed each night out of habit, because, long ago, he had said it was an erotic sight. For some reason, men often liked women in some sort of nominal drag, though Amy couldn't remember the last time Leo had been all that excited by her. Maybe she should have had gadgets affixed to her body, she thought. Instead, married for 13 years and in the middle of their life together, they often lay in bed at night like two tired, prehistoric animals that had individually been out in the world for many hours, fighting for survival. "What a stupid day," Leo had said last night in the dark, and his hand, half-heartedly, almost accidentally, bumped against her breast and stayed there. "Stutzman wanted to know when we're going to be ready to go to court. I told him I can only do so much, that I'm not Vishnu. So he said, 'Who's that? A new associate?'" "Oh, God," she said. "I remember that kind of thing." "It's worse now. You always have to stop and explain what you mean, and you have to appease everyone. It's an onslaught. Corinna and I basically just roll our eyes." Corinna Barry was his closest friend at the office. Once, long ago, Amy had been Leo's primary work confidant, the one he had rolled his eyes with, but she had lost that tender role. "I'm sorry," she told him. "Everyone else manages," said Leo. "It's like they're being thrown some bone that no one's throwing me." He added dolefully, "I keep waiting for the bone." Whenever Leo expressed unhappiness about his job, Amy tried to find something to say that might be a comfort, even an anecdote about herself that could create a marital symmetry between them. "My day was bad too," she'd said. "The pediatrician's waiting room, like Typhoid Central, and we sat there for a full hour." It was as though they performed small reenactments for each other in bed, depicting the different ways the day had been spent. When he described and acted out scenes from his life at Kenley Schuber, the law firm where she had once worked too, and where they had first met, she easily pictured the toast-colored corridors, the conference room with its oak table and recessed lights. But as she began to tell him about her own day, he made